with you guys. Oh, and I'd like to start each video out with some gratitude. And since it's the month of February, the month for you, it's a globally known month to celebrate you and the ones that you love. And if you can take advantage of doing something for yourself, go ahead and do it. My gratitude for today goes out to Great Clips. I have been going in there and getting my hair styled. This is two Dutch braids. I also go in and get like a French braid. I've really been enjoying it lately. Today I went into Great Clips and had Jess do my hair. She's amazing. I'm pretty sure Great Clips is all over the place. We have a ton in our town. Go do it. It's super duper reasonable. I think this is like $21 with tax and everything to get it styled. And then I'll pull my hair up like this with a towel, shower tomorrow, just my body. And then I'll come out and I'll pull out my hair. It'll be nice and beautiful and curly, so I get more than one look for it. So thank you, Great Clips. All of you girls are so kind and so talented. We've been going there for years. In the month of February, I've been going in quite often, a couple times a week, and getting my hair braided because it's just really helpful and makes me feel great. So thanks to Great Clips. All right, moon class. We're going to start out our series, and I will have videos every moon day about the moon, every moon day, Monday, about the moon. But I will also have videos on my channel throughout the week if that's something that you want to look into or interested in. Check those out as well. And if you haven't checked out my preparation moon class series, check that out as well, because there is an internal process that you can go through with me. I love the moon. The moon's universal. It's so great. I love how anybody from around the world can see it and imagine it, but there's so much more to the moon that I didn't know about, and it reflects your inner world. The sun reflects your outer world. So that's kind of part of the moon classes too, is we can really get into your inner world if that's something you're interested in. So as we move along, we'll get into that. All right, so scientists believe that the moon is actually part of Earth. At one point in time, an asteroid hit Earth, and then a rock formation bounced off of Earth and got trapped in Earth's gravitational pull. And that's what we see now as our moon. And the moon does not create its own light. It only has light that is reflected onto it, that we see is a reflection from the sun. And we only see one part of the moon at all times. One part of the moon we really cannot see unless we physically leave the Earth. So we only see one part of the moon, and only one part of the moon sees sunlight. The other part of the moon that we do not see is always in darkness. There is also water on that part of the moon, which is ice. And the part of the moon that we do see, that does see light, we see that moon reflecting the light from the sun in 8 different phases. Because the moon will be moving around the Earth, which takes 29.3 days from one new moon to another new moon. So about a month for the Earth to travel fully around, for the moon to travel fully around the Earth. And then the phases that we see is the light hitting the moon in the various angles as it moves around the orbit of the Earth for that 29.3 days. And I think that's so amazing that it was part of Earth at one time. I didn't know that when I started reading about the moon. And it's also smaller than the sun, which I knew, because obviously the sun's like gigantic. What else about the moon? We only see one side. Oh yeah, okay. So the reason why I chose the moon to be on moon days is because the moon has actually been named, the Mondays have actually been named after the moon. The Romans back in the Babylonian times started the 7 days of the week and named them after the 7 planets, because they believed the moon and the sun were actually planets as well. So like Sundays named after the sun, and then moon days named after the moon, and the rest of the days of the week are named after planets, because the planets coincided with gods as well. And that's what the Romans did, is named most of the things by gods and stuff like that. And then after the Romans, the Nordic people took over, and they added to the moon day as well, because they had their gods, and I believe their god's name was Mani. So that also reflected towards the name Monday. And so and Mondays have always been great for me. I don't know if you guys have a day that's great for you. Look it up. You might have been born on day. I tend to find that. But Mondays have always been like, you know, the beginning of the work week, fresh start, new week. I love it. Mondays have always been days that I've really, really enjoyed. I know some people don't like Mondays. Hasn't been the case for me. They're educational days for me. Now they're my me days and creation days, because I've created those days to be my moon days, my Mondays. But I just think that's fun how our history has named, even honored the moon by naming it from the moon day. So that's kind of why I chose that day of the week for the classes, because I wanted to honor it in that sense as well. And then I do choose those days to write in my journals, and those are the days that I just have time to myself as well. The moon is also the only place other than Earth that humans have visited. We've landed on the moon, I guess, as far as we know. You know, there's some talk about that. And when you get on to the moon, it has its own different gravity. We can't even breathe. We have to wear, you know, our own uniforms up there, our own space uniforms. So it's a totally different, but yet it came from Earth. So I find that interesting. But since it's on its own different area and gravitational pull, it has all that going on. And then it doesn't create its own light. It reflects it from the sun. And do you guys know how mirrors work? Mirrors are like glass, but then they have paint around on the back of the glass. But then if you actually get really, 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 really close to a mirror and look up to the glass that's been painted, there's little teeny little divots, little indents all over. And then how we see our reflection in the mirror is because of those little divots combined with the glass and the paint, so that when the light hits those little divots that's made in the glass, that's how we see our reflection. That's how those mirrors work. And we do know the moon as like a crater with tons of different, you know, spots all over it. So I believe that's how it also gets its reflection from the sun, which is just so amazing. And I love that. And because when you look at it, it's so bright at night. So it's so amazing knowing that it's not even creating that, it's getting it from the sun. But they also say that the moon is moving away from us very slowly. It's like 38 centimeters a year, I believe, which is the same as like the growth of our fingernails, I believe. The same growth, like it takes our fingernail will grow 38 centimeters a year. And then that's the same as how the moon's moving away from us. That can be significant because it does create our tides on Earth. So like once that asteroid hit the Earth, a big form of Earth bounced off Earth's gravitational pull. So now it's our moon. That started and created the tides, which started and created our oceans and rivers and lakes and all that around the Earth, which kind of started creation in a way.